Welcome to the Exam Room Podcast, brought to you by the Physicians Committee. Hello, I'm the weight loss champion, Chuck Carroll. Thanks so very much for watching and downloading in more than 150 countries around the world and making this one of the most consumed nutrition podcasts anywhere on the planet today. And our guest today is an NBA legend turned actor. He's been in some of my favorite movies ever, and now he is definitely all aboard the plant-based train. With that, we welcome to the show for the first time, Mr. John Salley. Thanks for being here, John.
Hey, you know what? You are a champion. And Bad Boys 4, June 7th is coming out, which is, make sure you go see it.
Now, how did you know that Bad Boys was one of my favorite movies ever? Like, I went to see that like at least 13 times in the theater, swear to God.
Yeah, me too. I was trying to, thinking I was going to make more money by doing it. Uh, when I did 1 and 2, and then 3 came about, 20 years after, or 16 years after. And then when I went to the premiere, I sat there with Will, and it was screening Will had, and I said, "Hey, bro, I should have been in that one." He said, there was no room, but they found room for me in Bad Boys 4, Ride or Die, which is, I saw it last week. I saw it in the premiere. It's unbelievable.
That's
It's a
outstanding.
great movie. It's fun. Can't wait to do it.
What has your character Fletcher been up to in all these years, man? Have you been staying out of trouble?
What's funny is Jerry Buckheimer has always been wonderful to me. So when there was a show called LA's Finest with Jessica Alba and Gabrielle Union, they took on the role as two, LA cops, and Gabrielle brought her DEA over that she played within Bad Boys 2. And I got to play Fletcher, and they had like 10, I guess, episodes. It only lasted a season. And the reason it went away was the murder of George Floyd just didn't look good for there to be bad cops. It just wasn't the atmosphere, or it wasn't the culture. So that went away. But Jerry Buckheimer made sure I was in it to reprise that role. And then when Bad Boys 4 came around, I mean, he even had me at the table read. I love Jerry Buckheimer. He is a great movie maker and good guy.
Do you get as much fulfillment and joy out of acting as you did when you were playing on the court, starring in the NBA?
No, I don't. But I do. Let me tell you, I decided, and this is why it's, when they said, we're going to do this, because I've been working with PCRM since 2005, I think it is, or 2000. It may have been a little later. Dr. Neil Bernard and I, Colin, Dr. Eckerson. I just literally, I know I messed the names up, but that's how I am. I'm a black guy that does that. I loved playing professional basketball, and I literally said, when I retire, I'm going to go to Hollywood. I'm going to be a TV host. I'm going to do movies. I have done every single thing I've ever set out to do with pure intention. Now that being my 16th movie, I'm all about health and wellness now. I turned 60 May 16th, and I decided for the next 60 years, my focus was going to be health and wellness. So that's why I have Better Life products.store, and I'm selling my products. I just decided when I'm watching people sell things, and they're telling people, this is going to make you lose weight, this is going to do this and this, and it's even like you, Chuck. When you first started losing weight was one thing, but then a wise man explained plant-based living to you. And a lot of people say you can eat what you want and you're going to lose weight. That's the first thing they would say to people who want the easy way of doing it. I always say the two most important letters in the alphabet in America are E and Z. People want to do it easy. So it's not easy. I said it wasn't easy putting all these added weight and things in your body. It's not going to be easy to lose. Now, what I tell people is, over the years of helping people lose weight, I realized it wasn't just the weight. I was helping people remove toxins from their body, and the caveat was they lost weight.
Yes.
And
Yes.
when the funniest thing is when people go, well, I don't want to get too slim. I don't want to get too skinny. I said, no, I want you to get healthy. Rhinoceros are big. They're healthy. Hippopotamus are big. They're healthy. Elephants are big. They're healthy. I'm a big man. I'm healthy. So it's about making sure that you remove free radical cells, some known as cancer, remove viruses that don't work inside your body, remove bacteria that is detrimental to your cells. So
Yeah.
I look at it a different way. I became a certified health coach because when I went to go back to the NBA to try to help these guys, they were like, well, you got to be certified, you got to be this, you got, and I go, well, you got a lot of certified people around here, but this guy just had muscle cramps. Why would he have muscle cramps? What are you allowing him to eat? What is he not drinking? Coconut water. What is he not drinking? Because they only think I go to an expensive restaurant which serves dead flesh and people have on white jackets and the lights will be low and we'll sit on these comfortable seats. This is a good restaurant. They're going to give us good food. No, they're going to give you dead carcass and the canned meat that's going into rigor mortis. And they cooked it and they put pepper on it. That's what you're getting, and your body's not knowing how to digest it. So I just explain if you want, and I say this to most athletes, the best athlete in the world is a thoroughbred, and they treat him thoroughbred with utmost respect. They don't give it steak. They don't give it alcohol. They don't give it tobacco. They don't. I'm not talking against those things because I like cigars and I like cognac and I like whiskey and red wine. I do.
Right.
I'm a human, but not as the staple diet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And I think that that's key, what you're talking about. And I'm sorry that there was that barrier to, kind of block you from getting in there a little bit deeper to help these guys.
I found this out, Chuck. A lot of things are done according to what they consider to be tradition. When I was playing in college, I graduated from the great school of Georgia, known as Georgia Tech, Georgia Institute of Technology. And before our pregame meals, they would give us string beans and a thin steak, and we would eat that around 4 o'clock. The game's at 7, and I know it takes 2 hours to digest food, but not that.
Hmm.
They want to call it protein, not dead carcass. Like when I got into the pros, I found out Pat Riley had a room full of fruit, and you can eat this fruit, and you got a nervous system. Guys just think they get out there and they play. No, they're nervous too, but they eat the fruit. It fills their stomach. It hydrates them. And then racism kicked in when dumb guys said, "Man, why you got so much watermelon here?" They're blessing you with watermelon. Like eat the watermelon, eat the melon, let it digest, get to the point. If you're going to eat a banana, separate them. Know that you're eating all of this watermelon. You're going to go to the bathroom and you're going to play the best game in your life. And I would say, hey, man, you got to feed your body for the task. And we're 1 in a million in America. Every uh, NBA player is 1 out of 1 American. So there's 430 NBA players, right? There used to be 376, but we got more teams. When I played, it was 376 NBA ball players per year. So you're 1 in a million. You can't perform like that and then sit next to somebody that was in the stands in the same restaurant and go, hey man, good game. And I'm eating the same food as somebody that doesn't use his body the same way. And I explained that to these guys. I was like, your business is your body. LeBron James figured it out. LeBron James literally said, hey, I'm going to pay somebody $1 million a year to make sure my body is in the best shape it could possibly be. Is he plant-based? He's getting it. God willing, he's getting there. I remember my boy Carmelo Anthony did it and played great for those 2 weeks. He just didn't have the right coaching to go along with it.
Mm. Have you thought about, talking, or maybe you've already spoken with Joseph Blair, coach for the Wizards now? He was just on the show. He's plant based. And one of the things that when he was on the show that I took away from was he was talking about all of these, even coaches who were coming up to him kind of undercover before, after the game and picking his brain about the diet. And it kind of made me think, well, if it's undercover, like, is there still this stigma in the locker room that not eating meat makes you weak?
Yeah, I think God rest his soul. my guy Bill Walton. When Bill Walton was a vegetarian in the 70s, and then he got ankle problems. They were like, man, if you ate a steak, you would have enough protein to feed your body. And he had to go through that, and they didn't realize he just had a degenerate um, um, situation, or a gene situation in his family that was causing his problems in his legs. It had nothing to do with him not eating meat. The better benefit was he didn't eat anything that was going to cause his body to slow down to digest. Or he didn't get the nutrients when he needed to get the nutrients in the places. They weren't as advanced. It was back when I first became plant-based in 1991, and a lot of the plant-based food was cardboard and barbecue sauce. So that's how that went about. So I literally knew how to take care of it, what to do. I went microbiotic first, and then I learned better as it went on. I became a better eater.
I heard a better eater, but now you're also quite talented in the kitchen. You're a pretty good chef too, right?
Yeah, well, I've always been. My mother was a kosher caterer when I was growing up, so we worked at Grabstein's Deli, and she was the cook. And, no one knew that this, small black lady from from South Carolina was making their gefilte fish, and and I was in there literally making knish throughout my young age, and we used to cater. Seder dinners on Friday nights, and so I always knew how to cook. It's funny, when I got married, my wife wasn't a person who knew how to cook, and when my mom's moved over, and we started taking care of her after my father passed, I said, you have to teach her how to cook. She said, you teach her. I said, I don't want her to know. So it was after 13 years of marriage, she was like, what do you mean you have knives and you know this and you know that? I said, she goes, yeah, Johnny but used to do half the meals with me. And she goes, you didn't tell me that. I go, you had to learn how to cook. And then I was vegetarian. So I was a lying vegetarian, Chuck. Those are the guys who have fish and chicken and eggs and turkey and shrimp and lobster and call themselves vegetarian. I was one of those.
Right, right.
When I decided at the age of 40 to stop lying, it took me until I was 50 to do it. But when at 40, I was like, the first person I'm not going to lie to is myself. So I decided not to lie to myself. And when I decided to be truthful, I became a vegan. The blessing was I was doing a PSA for PETA about it's called Veg Out, about being a vegetarian, because we know you have to guide people into things. And my guy Dave Anderson, who is one of the people who tweaked the Beyond Burger, and he had a thing called Madeline's Bistro. And I would go there and knock on the back, and he would let me in. He goes, I'm making a new egg. I'm doing this piece. And he would always try to get the exact taste. And he had no idea that I was there the food was great, but I was there for the knowledge. I was there to learn how to make things, what it was doing. And then I took it further, and I said, one thing I haven't seen is when people say, when you chew something and you swallow it, and it goes into your stomach, what happens? Right? And everyone goes, oh man, I love steak, John. I go, well, you love the taste of it, but once it passed the back of your tongue, your body has to deal with it. So what happens? And I got into race car driving because, I miss basketball. And I just fell in love with Formula One. And I realized, and I watched these guys take this unbelievable car and break it down at the end of each race and ship it to the next place and then put it back together. I thought that was, and everyone goes, what are you talking about? They literally break the car down. They will not put bad gas in the car. They will not put a bad driver in the car. So I thought that was a way to look at it. I have a Formula One car. I'm Jeff Hamilton driving it, who is also plant-based. And that's it. I'm going to treat my body better than a thoroughbred, and I'm treated like a Formula One car. And that's how I live my life.
Oh, man. Well, you're talking Formula One. You've come to the right podcast, my friend, because at the Physicians Committee, we are big Formula One fans, right up to the tippy top with Dr. Neil Barnard. I mean, he loves Formula One. I don't know if you knew that about him, but he and I talk shop about this all the time. I was just reading how they're updating the cars for 2026. They're doing rid of the DRS system, and they're going to give them instead like an electric powered turbo boost to help with the overtake. And of
As
course,
if we're
next
not
year,
fast enough.
what's that?
As if we're not fast enough.
Oh no, man, we got to speed them up. They said that the top speeds are going to be, quote, significantly faster. Like, let's go, man. And of course, you were talking about Lewis Hamilton. I mean, he's moving to Ferrari next year. We got big doings right now in
I said
Formula
Jeff
One, John.
Hamilton. Yeah, my bad. Lewis,
Whatever,
yeah,
Jeff,
my bad.
you know, I'm
No,
sure he's been called worse, man.
Jeff Hamilton makes a leather jacket. I don't know why I thought about that. I used to help him give the jacket to guys, and I said, "Hey, I got an idea. You should do this out of fabric." And he was like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, if you want to make me one, make it in fabric." He was like, I said, "Yeah, I don't really want to wear any, I don't want to wear anybody else's skin."
Right.
And he's like, "That's a good idea." I said, "Yeah, that's my way of helping." I tell people, way I am with Peter is I'm a living example, and I give you the alternative and I show you how cool it is.
Right.
And then, slowly but surely, what we learned in health, becoming a health coach, small hinges open big doors.
Yes,
So
sir.
I don't yell at those who are asleep. I really just talk to the conscious, the ones who are awake, and I show them the better way of being it.
All right, let me ask you this. I want to go back to Chef John for a second. Ask you kind of
Yeah.
a fun question here. You have obviously Bad Boys 4 coming out. You're having Martin Lawrence and Will Smith come over. You're cooking a plant-based dinner. What's on the menu?
Well, the first thing I always get people started with, I give them some enzymes, and they go, "What are these pills?" I go, "Oh, these digestive enzymes." They go, "Why?" I go, "Well, to help your body, because after 30, you need more enzymes in your body." That's first thing. Second, oh man, I found this grain. I can't remember the name of it right now, and they're slowly eating these pieces, and then they go, "Man, that was good," because I did this with Martin and and Kim Whitley and a couple of other people, and when they finish eating, they go, "Man, that was good," and I go, "Yeah, there was nothing dead on there. Everything that you just ate was alive. We didn't overcook it. We didn't beat it down. I didn't give you any jiffy cornbread with pork in it. I gave you the taste you wanted to enjoy. Your stomach is about 70% full. I'm not overstuffing you where you have to push away from the table." That's one of the first things in experience I do with them.
Hey man, you're getting the fundamentals out of the way. The 70%. You're definitely a health coach if you're talking about stopping at 70%, man. That's a pro tip right there. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that a
And,
lot.
like we talked about, like you talk about food combinations,
Yeah,
because I
man.
watch. And I say that. I say, they asked me what I eat for breakfast. I said, I have spirulina. I have this company I'm working with that sends me frozen spirulina. And and I put that in the water and I drink that. And so I get my nutrients that I lost the day before or that I used while I was detoxing my body while I was asleep. And then I start eating fruit from like 11 to 2. But I eat all of my melons at one time. So if I had a cantaloupe or if I had honeydew, um, when I get a beautiful watermelon, I mean, I'm devouring, and I'm eating them in space. I'm not like sitting down, eating this, and eating this. I'm not gonna. I don't really, because of a lot of people and what I've read, I don't use oil. I've been doing as much as I can with grains and water if I'm cooking it for not a long period of time. And uh, I would say some grains, and like I got with my guy at the sprouting company, um, and he is wrote a great book about it. And so I just, like I said, moving houses, but put up my sprouting situation. So if I can get these sprouts and eat all these sprouts, I'm telling you, I'm going to be Superman.
You
I tell
talking
you, I got
about Doug
another 60
Evans?
years on the planet, and this time I did the first 60 years not knowing. The next 60 years, I'm using everything I know. I posted today uh, to adults: when you learn something late, teach that to your children early.
There it
So
is.
Yeah.
There it is. I like that. But just think about like how great the next 60 are going to be, right? Because now not only will you have the health, you're going to have the wisdom. I think that that positions you perfectly to live a long, healthy life, man.
God willing, and the creek don't rise. And everyone goes, well, what happened? And I go, listen, my man Jacqueline lived to 99 and he left us with a juicer. I used to juice too. And then I kind of pulled back because there was so many nitrates in the juice. And
Yeah.
I eat my fruit.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know,
Let's talk
yeah.
about that. Jack
Yeah.
LaLanne. That name doesn't get brought up too much anymore. But I remember watching him. My grandma had a crush on Jack LaLanne, man. Let me tell you. She thought, oh, he's just the most handsome man. Um, but juicing, I mean, where do you fall on this? Because I talk to guys like Will Bolsowitz, all about fiber fueled. I mean, that's his brand. He's like, you got to eat the fruit. I mean, there are worse things than fruit juice, but you want the fiber that comes with it. And it seems to me like
Yes.
you've shied away from juicing, and you said like you just like to eat your melon whole now, right?
Yeah, what I did is like in 2009, I had a juice company and I was working with Creation Cleanse here in California. And I had Betta Juice. And I realized that they were juicing. I was helping people get on these juice fasts and they were doing great. They were doing great. They were getting it in. But when I realized the fiber that people were throwing away, even when people are juicing, and I don't talk, as long as they don't eat animals or hurt animals, I'm cool. But then it's easier to talk to them. And so explaining what you can do with the pulp that comes out with it, but explaining why you should eat this and why you should add moringa powder, why you should have guanabana soursop, and why you should eat the right herbs for your. I have a herb line coming out. That's what I said on Better Life Products.store. You'll see my Better Belly. That's to clean the gut. And as I'm cleaning the gut, I then give them some more herbs to help strengthen their cells to fight whatever needs to have the fight. And then I explain how you literally should work your system, how you should walk, breathe, stretch, take time out, step outside the matrix for a second, calm your body down. It's really building strength. So I, that's I guess that's the first thing. I don't really talk about it, but I go live usually every Wednesday. So I have a new thing called Wellness Wednesday, and I'll go live every Wednesday on all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Reels, and Facebook. I went live last week Wednesday, and close to 1,000 people were watching. And
Nice.
when I realized it, I said, you know what? I'm going to get my system to be able to be on all those platforms at once, and I'm just giving the information. I realized people are hoarding the information, thinking about how much money they can make from the information. I realized the universe bless you when you bless people in the universe.
For sure. For sure.
Vegan food share, go on it on Instagram. We got like close to 300,000 people just sharing vegan food, and this is the deal. If it's in front of you, if they see it, the more they see it, 21 times of seeing something makes it a habit, makes you try it. Boom, you're there.
Is that at vegan food share? Like that's what it is on Instagram and all that? Okay.
I wore this shirt just for you, Chuck.
We will drop a link to everything in the show description and in the episode notes. And it's funny, like I like that shirt. It stood out to me right away when you popped on. And I look at food in kind of the same way. You've got green, yellow, and red there. And I look at food just like that, like a traffic light system. Red is the stuff that
Yes.
you really shouldn't touch. Yellow is okay in moderation, and green is like game on, right?
Yes.
So a lot of people now they're turning to these fake meats. And for me, John, fake meat kind of falls into that yellow category, especially if it's the frozen kind that you get at the grocery store. Where do you as a health coach now look at those things like your Impossible Whoppers and your Gardein brand?
Um, I was a part of Beyond Meat since 2009, and then they went public in 2018. And I had it at the restaurant I was a part of up in San Bernardino. Um, this is what I look at. They say, man, but all these chemicals. I go, it's not an animal. So this is what you're doing. You're saving a sentinel being. You're in the thought process of health. So once I get you there, I can, kind of guide you where you need to go. Like I said, babies are born, but they crawl. They have no idea. They'll crawl off the edge of a building. They'll stick something inside of a socket. They haven't been watched and told not to do that, and not chastised, but literally taught the best way of doing it. Explain that's not good. This is what happens. So that's the way I look at it when you're eating these faux meats. It's Franken meat, they can call it, but at least your body can figure out and digest it, as opposed to your body grabbing it and adding to those cancerous cells. So that's the difference I have with those meats. I don't, like I said, as long as you're not eating an animal, and as long as you're realizing, hey, I'm working at being healthy. Like I said, I don't say try, because do or do not. There is no try. God bless Yoda. And as long as you are pushing in this way of being conscious, I tell people all the time, I do not scream from the mountaintops. I do not scream at people, because people who are asleep, if you jar them the wrong way, they're going to wake up, but they're going to wake up angry at you. So I lightly shake them. I lightly say, hey, wake up. Hey, you want some water? Yeah, man, I'm thirsty. Yeah, thirsty. What's up? What's going on? As they wake up, I then show them everything, because you can't show it to anybody that's asleep.
Right. I think that's a really good point. And I think that also I would add to that the person has to want to wake up in the first place. You can't force anybody to make a change if they don't want to. And that's a frustrating thing, especially when we all have friends and family members who we love deeply, who are really struggling with their health. And you know that there's a healthier way to do things. But if they're not ready to wake up and step outside the matrix, as you just said, there's not a whole lot that anybody can do at that point.
No. And let me tell you, I say this all the time, and I read this in the Bible. The great King David was a great leader, a great general, and the one thing he could not get in control of was his family. Like, that was in disarray. And so it's just the ones closest to you that you want to do it your way, sometimes are the hardest to listen. And I realized that. And one of the things I asked Chuck people, this guy was like, yeah, man, I got to really get in shape. So, if you can help me. I go, do you want to live? They go, yeah. I said, do you want to do better? Because I can lay it out for you and show you what it is. I used to be a teacher. I used to be a preacher. Now I'm just a sage. Here it is. This is the path. Like Morpheus told Neo, I can only show you the door. It's up to you to walk through it. And that's how I had to do it. I had to be a living example of what I've been telling people it was going to be.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Lead by example. And
Yes.
it's like I always tell people, they're always watching too. They may even give you a hard time, but they're always watching. And
Always
eventually,
watching.
it's the person that you least think is ever going to come up to you and ask questions. That's the one that's going to catch you off guard one day and ask for your advice about something. And what a glorious day that is when that happens. You know what I mean?
That's what I do, Chuck. And I'm so proud of you,
Thank you,
because
man.
if anybody sees your pictures, what you were to what you are now, it is, I take my hat off to you. I'm telling you are the champion.
I appreciate you, man. More than you know. As somebody who really admired you on the court, and then the fact that you're associated with the Bad Boys franchise, that coming from you, you just made my day, John. You just made my day, man. So check this out. Everybody go check out Betta Life Products, Betta lifeproducts.store. There's a link down below in the show description and in the episode notes. Hang out with my man on Wednesdays, Vegan Food Share. There's a link to that down below as well. And I know you got to hit the road because you got to check out a house, man. So best of luck house hunting, John. Appreciate your time, buddy.
Bless up, Chuck.